Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about is more better. Specifically, we're going to be talking about is more hammers on an impact driver better. We're going to be talking about that with this impact driver right here, the Metabo HPT 36 volt multi-volt triple hammer IP56 rated impact driver. Well, I'll try saying that really fast. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. More is not always better. Stay tuned to find out. All right, you guys, so Metabo HPT, Hitachi Power Tools, you know, they kind of merged or whatnot, or had sister companies or whatever story you want to believe, or they kind of, you know, owned by a larger parent company, whatever. Anyways, long story short, Hitachi Power Tools is part of the Metabo group, or Metabo is part of the HPT group, or Hikoki group, whatever you want to call it, right? Anyways, long story short, this used to be what they call the Hitachi Power Tools, but now with the whole companies, you know, shuffling around and merging and stuff like that, it is actually Metabo HPT. Anyways, long story short, this one right here is the Metabo HPT 36 volt multi-volt impact driver, model number WH36DBQ4. Like I said, try saying that really fast. And the interesting thing about this impact driver is it is IP56 rated, and it makes 3 hammer or impacts per rotation, right? Triple hammer. If you didn't know, most impact drivers take right now, I think, about 2 impacts per rotation, just the way that it's designed, okay? So this one right here, like I said, runs on their multi-volt platform. They do make another model that runs on their 18 volt platform, but we're not here to talk about that one today. We're going to be talking about this. So before we get too far into it, let's go look at the marketing hype, and then we'll bring you in closer and take a better look at it. So this right here is a Metabo HPT 36 volt multi-volt triple hammer impact driver. It has the power to power through the toughest jobs up to 1,859 inch-pounds of torque and 4,000 max beats per minute and 2,900 max RPM. Wow, try to get through that really fast, right? It weighs roughly about 4.1 pounds with the battery, allegedly. It has a third anvil, allows for more impacts per minute to drive fasteners faster, even in the hardest materials. Aha, we're going to talk about that later, okay? It runs on their multi-volt platform, so it has a 36 volt battery, which is backwards compatible with their 18 volt battery, but you cannot use the 18 volt battery on this tool. It has to operate at 36 volts. There is an AC adapter cord, which is sold that you can use, so you can use this as a corded tool. I'm not sure how many people are actually going to use that, but anyways, it is out there. It did win a few awards by, you know, Pro Tool Awards, all this kind of fun stuff, and it has a limited lifetime warranty on the tool, which is interesting because if you look at the box, it said lifetime warranty, but if you look at the website, it says covered by a lifetime lithium-ion body or tool body warranty and 2 years lithium-ion battery warranty and 1 year on the charger warranty with 30 days no questions return policy. So read all the fine print about the warranty, okay? It's brushless motor, it has IP56 rated, like we said, which protects against dust and water exposure from water jets on all sides. If you want to get into that testing, you could go and figure it out, but anyways, it's an impressive test and it does survive that. It has a 4-stage speed selection for precision and control during various applications, and it is built for professional grade as they build for durability first. All right, so this right here is obviously a left-hand power tool. If you're looking at the tool or holding the tool, let's say, right? And there's a lot of stuff going on here, so let's talk about it. All of this black stuff here is rubber overmold. Obviously, the battery is not rubber overmolded. It does have a belt clip that you can reverse and put it on the other side in case you did want to. It does come with a permanently attached lanyard system here, but if you wanted to, I guess you could cut it off and put something else on there, but that is there, okay? So the other stuff going in on here, pretty standard forward and reverse switch. Except, it may just be me, but it feels like it's just a hair longer, maybe more than a hair, maybe a quarter inch longer, maybe an 1/8 of an inch throw than other forward and reverse switches. Hasn't really gotten any issues in the way. I just wanted to point that out. Sometimes you do appreciate it being just a little bit longer, mainly because if you're trying to work through it while wearing gloves, then it is nice to know that, you know, you got that positive feedback with that, you know, forcible throw on that switch. That's just me, but you know, anyways. Metabo HPT stuff here, it'll say brushless here, 56 volts here, you know, or IP56 rated there, I mean, multi-volt impact driver. And this black rubber overmold is a little bit more rubberized, I would say, than other tool brands. It does have a really nice softer feeling to it, and that is there. This front part here is plastic, and it is not like permanently on here. You can potentially remove this by taking off this black ring, and then it'll slide right off. If sometimes you see tools on the market or tools in real life that look a little bit different, it's mainly probably because they've just taken this off. Personally, I don't really see too much of a need to have this thing on here. Maybe it protects maybe this metal here, which I'm not sure what it's made out of exactly. Maybe it's soft like aluminum or something, but it is there, and a lot of people will just run with this off, so just keep that in mind, okay? The other thing going in on here is let's talk about these modes. So as you can see here, this little tornado looking icon is actually the mode selector. So on this one, right, you can go up and down, right? So right now there's one red LED lit, which means it's in slow or low mode, right? And then here is medium mode for 2 LEDs. Click it again, it'll go to this blue. The LED will turn blue, and there's a little line that leads to a letter above it that says P, and I guess that is for power mode. And then there is another one on the far right, which is LED turns green, changes colors, and it is S, which means for self-tapping screw mode, or screw mode, some people call it. I really don't have too much use for that screw mode, and even the ones that I do use, it doesn't always really come into handful use anyways. So did want to point that out. We'll give you a quick information about this variable speed trigger here. All right, here we go. It's on low, mode 1. So that ramp up on that, or that feedback control of that variable speed trigger, I think is probably really, really nice. I would say it's probably one of the best ones so far. Did you hear that? Let's go to mode 2. Right, that sounded fast, but that's nothing compared to this. Well, check this out. Wow, that just sounds fast too, and it feels nice, right? So let's go to screw mode, right? What I noticed about the screw mode is that if it's under load or whatnot, it'll actually just ramp up more. So that's interesting. Okay, otherwise, going on to the back part here, pretty standard stuff, nothing really going on back here. It does have little vent controls here and stuff like that. I try not to put my hand on like this, mainly because it does look like it will cover up airflow when you are using it. Other side here, going around this side, this stuff right here is rubber over mode here. So a lot of times when you put it down, it won't slide off or mar up certain surfaces. Like I said, you can put the belt hook right there if you did want to. Other than that, nothing else going on here. All right, so let's talk about the front here. This is a quick change collet, but it is not a quick insert collet, and it's not a quick eject collet. It's a pretty standard collet, right? So as you would imagine, look, doesn't go in. You have to do a two-handed operation. Drop it in. You really can do it one-handed if you wanted to, you know, I'm just saying it's not one that stays open where you just push it in and locks in. So you can just do that, okay? And the collet movement, we don't cover this too much, but it is, I would say, just a hair better than the average. If you look at the movement or the fit on there, I know it won't come across too well, but on some tools, it's actually really bad. On this tool, it seems maybe about average, if not just a hair better, okay? Right here is the LED, and you can control the LED by this button on the front. It looks like a pretty standard LED headlight looking button. If you're used to driving a car, it pretty much looks like that, okay? The little icon on here. So right now, it is on-off mode, right? Which means if you press the trigger, it'll come on, right, when you're using it. If you push the button again and there are no LEDs lit up here, right, on the control panel, it means no matter what you do, it's going to be off. You can put it on mode, which is, it's just on, right? You can see it's on without even using it. And those are the 3 modes you can really cycle through on there, all right? So let's go talk about the bottom part here real quick, right? So on this bottom part here, it's got all these little contacts for where the battery would contact. It doesn't have any additional vibration dampening mechanism or anything like that. The other thing to point out on here is this black part right here, piece that you would expect to be completely plastic is actually rubberized. I think it actually helps with the vibration of the battery. So instead of having like vibration dampeners here, 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 or whatever, it just has this one big part here, which if you can tell right here as it fits on, right? It's a pretty tight fit. There's not a lot of jiggle or wobble room for that battery. So that part is pretty nice. As you can feel it, you don't feel a lot of movement or any of that with this tool. So without too much further ado, let's get into what people really care about and check out the performance. All right, hope y'all caught those numbers, because those numbers did not go by as fast as you probably thought they were going to, right? Or did they? So let's go take a look. This triple hammer multi-volt impact driver kitted with this 4 amp hour multi-volt battery, which means it is 8 amp hours in a 18 volt tool. But in this tool, because it runs at 36 volts, it's 4 amp hours, okay? First run on the light duty test, the 8-inch timber lock test. First run 7.10, second run 5.08, third run 6.60. The average comes out to 6.26 seconds. Moving on to the medium duty test, which is the 5/16 by 6-inch lag. First run 9.12, second run 5.82, third run 4.62. Taking an average of the 3 runs comes in at 6.52 seconds, okay? Moving on to the heavier duty or more difficult test, right? The 1/2-inch by 8-inch lag. First run 38.18, second run 26.02, third run 25.95. Taking an average of 3 runs comes in at 30.05 seconds. So we're gonna go ahead and say this because it looks like there's pretty variance in some of these numbers compared to some of the other tools that we've tested. We could technically go through and test it as many times so all the numbers get together, or we can just, you know, toss out the peak numbers that are far variant away from that. But we didn't do that with all the other tests, so there's no point in doing with this one. It'll just be unfair, right? No one knows what's happening. Or maybe it's more fair. Anyways, we're just gonna go with what we have. If you feel like that's inaccurate or you want to do it differently, you can just, you know, take an average of the 2 and take the third one out. Anyways, long story short, this tool and this battery combination comes in weighing at a whopping 4 pounds, 4.1 ounces, okay? So looking at the total performance score, how do we get that? You take a sum of the 3 averages, and that comes out to 42.83 seconds, okay? Where does that put that? That puts that just behind the Makita XTT14, which I think is in 8th place, and right in front of the Bosch IDH182, which had a score of 46.06. So that means this tool and this battery combination comes in right around 9th place on the leaderboard. Wow, bam, mind blown, right? You would think with impressive numbers like, 2,900 RPMs and 4,100 IPMs and 1859 inch-pounds of torque and stuff like that, the numbers, should be really good, right? Let's go take a look at those numbers real quick, okay? So if you compare it to, let's say, the Gen 3 Fuel 2853 Milwaukee, that one has 3,600 RPMs versus this 2,900 RPMs. That one has also 4,300 IPMs versus the 4,100 IPMs on the Metabo, on the triple hammer. And the Gen 3 Fuel has 2,000 inch-pounds of torque, and while this one has 1,859 inch-pounds of torque, okay? If you want to compare to, let's say, the DCF 850, which is the atomic DeWalt, right? That one is 3,250 RPM, still higher than this one with 2,900, and then that one is 3,800 IPM, which is lower than the 4,100 IPM of the multi-volt triple hammer, and the DeWalt DCF 850 is 1,825 inch-pounds of torque compared to this one, which is 1,859 inch-pounds of torque. So the question's always going to come up saying, well, the DeWalt numbers seem a little bit lower, right, than this one. What's really going on there? Let's go take a look, okay? So if you take a look at the lower light duty test, right, the 8-inch timber lug test, that one comes in around 6.26 seconds, okay? That one is actually pretty slow compared to some of the other ones, right, which had around 3 seconds. Some of them even had around 4 seconds, right? The medium duty test comes in around 6.52 seconds on this one compared to the 3.91 on the Gen 3 Fuel, and let's say the DCF 850, which was around 6.09. So that's more comparable than this one, right? But moving on to the heavier duty test, which is the 1/2 inch by 8-inch test, the 850 came around 17.53 seconds on average, and this one came in around 30.05 seconds on average, okay? So what's going on there? What I believe is happening, okay, is the way that the hammer and anvil impact thing works is that on a regular impact driver, every revolution that it makes, it'll make 2 impacts, right? Bam, and then 180 degrees later, it will make another impact, right? Bam, bam. That's how the impact drivers generally work. On this one, as the name implies, triple hammer, so the 360-degree rotation is actually divided into 3 sections now, which is about 120 degrees, right, of difference per each section. So it's like bam, bam, bam. Therefore, what I believe is actually happening is because there's less distance to travel, right, from the hammer and anvil from one to the next. Instead of there being 180, it's actually 120. It can't gain that momentum or mass in order to make that impact, deliver its maximum power, right? So it may be making more impacts, but it actually is not delivering as much power on every single blow of those impacts, right? And that disparity actually shows up even bigger on heavier duty tests, right, where the anvil or the anvil actually moves less, mainly because the force required to move that mass is much bigger, right? So when it's impacting less, it moves it less, therefore the distance to travel is actually even lesser, delivering even more power or less power per impact, on those heavier duty tests. So just to make sure nothing weird was going on with numbers, I did take this and put it right next to a Gen 3 Fuel with the 5 amp hour battery, since I don't have a 4 amp hour battery, and then ran them side by side on one hand, the other hand. Bam, the Gen 3 Fuel is obviously faster. If you haven't seen the short yet, go check it out. And then we switched hands and did the same thing, and then the Gen 3 Fuel was still faster. I would say if you look at it, maybe about 2 or 3 seconds, right? Which seems to be right according to the number. So there's nothing weird going on here. That's just what it seems like it's happening. And like I said, that's just my theory. And then I did look it up, and it looks like I think Torque Test Channel or somebody actually has a good cutaway on what's happening. And I believe that's what's actually happening. I haven't seen anyone talk about the distance, travel, rotation, the 360 divided by 2 versus divided by 3, 120 versus 180. But I think that has a lot to play with it if you want to talk scientifically or whatever, but that's there. Anyways, a long story short, let's close the video. So what can we say or think good about this impact driver, right? First thing a lot of people are going to point out is it really worth it, right? So this impact driver right now you could get as a kit, which means this the 4 amp hour multi-volt battery and a charger for roughly around $189 or $200. So it comes as like this as a kit, and the tool has a limited lifetime warranty. The battery has a couple years warranty and stuff like that, but for about $200, I would say it's a pretty good deal, right? Does it compare in terms of, you know, numbers and performance? You're gonna have to figure that out for yourself, because if you have like a Gen 3 fuel or even a DeWalt DCF850 or even 8A7, it is not as fast as those tools on every test, right? But it does have a lifetime warranty, and this one is IP56 rated. So if you are working in an environment that's just constantly always going to be wet or super dusty, right, it may be worth looking into it. If you're on the multi-volt platform, sure, this is probably a good one to get. But is the triple hammer thing pretty a gimmick? I'm going to go out and say it is probably pretty much a gimmick, because almost on every single test that we've tested so far, right? Light duty 8-inch timber lock, that's pretty light. 5/6 inch by 6-inch lag, that's like a medium duty test. And a heavy duty test, like, you know, 1/2 inch by 8-inch. Every single test, this impact driver was not able to deliver faster performance numbers than the DeWalt or even the Milwaukee, right? Makita, maybe, if you look at numbers, I think it tied the XCT14 on the 5/16 by 6-inch lag test, right? So technically the Makita did the same, if not better than this one, right? So those are things you're gonna have to keep in mind, right? Plus, you know, $200 is not necessarily the cheapest, but it is, you can't really get a Milwaukee M18 Fuel Gen 3 impact driver and a battery kit for around $200 either. So, and you know, those tools are not lifetime warranties. And Milwaukee tools just, I don't know why, we just seem to warranty a lot more of their tools for some reason. Anyways, so that's what I'm saying. Can you go out and buy this tool, or should you go out and buy it? If you're in the platform, like I said, won't be bad, right? But is it going to be the fastest one to get the job done? Probably not. Did we buy this tool? Yes, we did buy this tool. Nobody sent this to us. This is not sponsored. You know, there are some other improvements we would like to see. First of all, say, you know, get rid of the gimmick triple hammer. I haven't seen any case where that's good. You know, this quick change chuck being, you know, something like that, you know, it's just like little things, right? Nowadays, there's so many competitors and so many options available. You want to do well on every single thing, right, as you can. The few good things it has going for it, like I said, besides the IP56 rated and the lifetime warranty, it actually does feel really nice and smooth when you are running it in lighter duty tests. But if you are running it in heavier duty tests, because it's not making as much progress, you will feel a lot more of that vibration in your arms or your hands that's running it, right? And on the 1/2 inch by 8-inch lag test, I'll throw up a clip in here. It got so hot because it was just taking so long to do it. The grease just started dripping down out of here, and now the entire socket adapter and the socket is actually covered in grease from the tool, okay? So those are things you're gonna have to keep in mind. Other than that, like I said, it's a great tool. If I had to go out and buy it all over again, would this be my first choice? Probably not. But it is still a great tool if you're doing, you know, light duty or work or stuff like that. So, and I won't panic if it gets rained on, right? So anyways, other than that, hope the video helped you guys out. If you have any questions or anything else, let us know. Otherwise, have a great day, and then we'll see you guys next time.